So I'm just going to welcome in a gentleman who has been waiting in our chat room very patiently. Just been waiting for a break to enable him to come in. So we're going to welcome in the lovely Mark Devlin. And we thank you so much, Mark, for your patience. Nice to see you.
Hello. Sorry, let me just stop the video because I'm hearing both versions here. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your patience. Just to let you know, we've got 20 minutes left of this segment and we're going to hand that over to you and say welcome.
Oh, thanks very much. I did only just see Colleen's message where she said there was no room in the first part of the show. So I apologize for bum rushing the show. I didn't mean to hijack things, but I did want to come on in the first hour, but I had to handle some family responsibilities. So this was the only time I could jump on. So I hope I'm not interrupting the flow of things.
No, it's perfect. Perfect timing.
Okay, great. Well, I've been really working hard to keep myself in a positive vibration today and to remain calm and balanced. It's a very important occasion on which to do that. I've been kind of wavering and fluctuating over the weekend, but what the demons, what the evildoers are trying to dump on us here in the UK, as you're probably aware, is a whole load of fear and trauma. So they've really been ramping up the tyranny in the last 48 hours. And to me, it's no coincidence that they've chosen this time frame to unleash this latest load of draconianism on us. So a lot of people are in a very fearful state now because much of England has been put into this new tier 4 restriction that they've just invented, which is where everything's basically shut down and they're saying stay in your homes. It's put people in a fearful, traumatic state. A lot of them have been contacting me to ask what the hell is going on. So it indicates to me that the architects of this narrative are getting very, very concerned and very, very worried about how things are going to pan out. Also, I've just been on Google, interestingly, the Google homepage. Have any of you guys seen that today?
Oh, tell us.
Well, they are acknowledging the planetary conjunction on Google. So they've got this little cartoon icon and you see Jupiter and then Saturn jumps down to join Jupiter and kind of throws its ring over it. And so Google is marking the occasion of this conjunction, which means they, as a corporation, and obviously they're run by demons, know that this thing is going on. So it's proof that they're aware of this. And again, it's no coincidence to me that they've dumped the latest load of tyranny on us here in the UK, and they're ramping up things in other countries as well. So being that I've worked hard to keep myself in a positive frame of mind today, I see this as an encouraging sign that this demonic evil control system knows that something is going on and they are getting desperate about it. I had a song come into my mind earlier today. I seem to channel songs out of the universe, out of the ether. And it was a soulful house record that I featured on some of my shows recently by Michel Chiavarini. And it's called Push, which is an acronym for Pray Until Something Happens. And to me, it really feels like something is starting to happen now. Something in the air. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Oh, who was it? Matthew Southern Comfort. Sorry, excuse me. Wrong group. Something in the air. But yeah, my take on things is that it's getting pretty desperate over here in the UK, but it's feeling after such a long, long wait as if things might be finally coming to a climax. Hope that makes some sense.
What's your take?
Sorry.
What's your take, Mark? Because obviously we're on a different, Charlie's been saying we're kind of on a different plan to the rest of the world in relation to the UK. Like, how do you think it's going to roll out here? Like more restrictions that then, people then kind of are forced to stand up as such?
Well, I honestly don't know how it's going to pan out. I do feel that events here in the UK and in all other nations are very closely tied to what's going to happen in the United States. And it's infuriating for people like me that lack patience and sometimes lack faith to see this whole shit show being dragged out for so long. So we're now, 6 weeks or 7 weeks maybe after the US elections. And I, like so many people, thought that we were going to get a foregone conclusion on that date and that everything was going to get sorted out. And that on November the 4th, POTUS was going to roll up his sleeves and get down to business and do what needed to be done. But instead of that, we've got this absolute debacle, this absolute pantomime that's just being dragged out. And we really don't know when or how it's going to end. And our patience and faith is being tested to the very extreme. But I do feel that once we get a clear solution and a clear ending to all of this coming out of the US, then things in other nations are going to change very quickly. And it wouldn't surprise me if our treacherous UK government is working under instruction and direction from above to deliberately ramp up the tyranny and keep the fear and the trauma hyped up to ridiculous levels while things get sorted out in the United States. That's how I'm feeling about it.
Absolutely.
I've just come back from a great event, actually, and it feels like a mini miracle and divine intervention that this event was able to take place at all. So it was a conference called Questioning History, and it was basically a truth/alternative type conference. And to my thinking, it's the only one that has been able to take place in the UK this year. And that's what made it such a wonderful gathering to be a part of. There was about 65 of us, and we were in a country manor house down near Hastings, where the Battle of Hastings was supposedly fought in 1066. And so the conference ran from Friday to Sunday, and ostensibly it was questioning historical events. Charlie's first YouTube series, when he first began his channel, was titled Everything You Know Is a Lie, and Would You Like to Hear Some Truth? And this event was very much tying into that idea that everything we've ever been taught from official sources was a lie. And so this event was casting a fresh set of eyes and renewed scrutiny on many historical events that we've just taken for granted, and we think we know the official version of them. So we were looking at the Battle of Hastings itself, the Bayeux Tapestry, which supposedly chronicled those events. We were looking at the Titanic, the story of that. Winston Churchill, the true nature of him. My talks were on the hippie counterculture scene of the 1960s, the true nature of the BBC. People were getting into all kinds of events and just looking into them. And so this event was supposed to run for 3 days, Friday to Sunday. So we all gathered there on the Friday. Halfway through Saturday afternoon, we get the announcement through mainstream media from the demon Matt Hancock and the traitor Boris Johnson that the UK is being placed under a new set of restrictions, and Tier 4 is coming in for vast parts of England. And it just so happens that Hastings in East Sussex had been singled out as an area that was going into Tier 4. And it was the only area in East Sussex that had been deemed to be put under those draconian restrictions. And I have to wonder whether it was an attempt to shut down this conference because they didn't want people getting together and collaborating in that way. So the organizer had to liaise with the venue to see whether they were comfortable with us continuing. It was a Christian retreat center that we were lodging in for the weekend. And the venue said that because we had all met on the Friday before these restrictions came in, and because we're the same group of people that are going to be in the same bubble through the weekend, it could be allowed to continue. And so we got to see this thing through by the skin of our teeth. And I've just got a text here from the organizer of the event. She just sent it to me, actually, as we were on the show. And she said, a friend of mine, the lady who led the spiritual session, mentioned something strange to me today. She said she saw beneficent dragons guarding the venue and was struck by the fact that when she went shopping today, she saw a new dragon brand of cheese that caught her attention. She's saying, could we have been helped at a spiritual level in this event going ahead? And I really think we were. And a beautiful part of it was that on the Saturday evening, once we'd had the lectures for the day, a whole load of us decamped to the library in the venue. And we had a social session. We're sitting around chatting. Some people had brought some drinks in. Some people were going out to smoke. A couple of people had brought a guitar, and we had a bit of a sing-along. And we stayed up till late just doing that most natural of things, human interaction and social contact with each other. It was a beautiful thing, and it made me realize how much we've missed that and how much we've had a war on joy and a war on just fundamental aspects of what it is to be human from these absolute demons over the past several months. So that was a beautiful event, and it finished yesterday, directly before the solstice, the conjunction today. And that's what's making me feel as if something is really now starting to happen.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it totally is, Mark. And like I said, the sort of the big key that everyone in Great Britain can take from this is it's the last straw, and for in so many people's eyes in Great Britain, and that is Boris a week ago going live on air saying, "I would never ever take Christmas away from you." And then Boris coming on last night or the night before and going, taking Christmas away from you and your family. And so it's just foreshadowing. Now, what Mark said is exactly right. It has to happen in the US first. And the delays that have occurred just mean that that it has to wait elsewhere, but once it happens, it's going to unfold like a magnetic pulse. So again, right now, the United States and this reclaimed center of Washington, D.C. from evil to good is going to pulse a blast of pure white magnetic light out, and it is going to reach the entire earth, and no child, no man, woman, or child will be left behind with this pulse. And this is what's going to happen. General Flynn and the Kraken team, and in locking arms with everyone in every country. That scene, I'm convinced that Trump and the Kennedys were behind the making of V for Vendetta, the movie. And that scene in London, where everybody wearing the Guy Fawkes mask, walking up to the military in that position, and then the military stood down and everybody revealed their masks, past, present, and future, all in one eternal moment. And then the eucatastrophe occurs, and there's push. And that's the miracle of the push, right? So that is the right light, which is photon light, P light. P light is the right light. That's why N follows M, because N is trying to be R, but it can't sustain it because it has the wrong light. It needed the P light. N-O, oh my God, I had the wrong light. P is the right light, photon, which leads to Q. Q is, as Josh said, is the balance. So photon is the right light. You're now in balance. And then guess what? The R stays. It doesn't fall to an N. It is the miracle. That's the eucatastrophe. So push, that push is the photon creating the right light, creating the eucatastrophe, where the sine wave rises to the breath of the Father. You don't pronounce the H because it's a breath. It's the breath of God. And we rise up in the ether to the breath of God as the snake uncoiling. And of course, that is the sacred feminine Kundalini rising. So it's all happening. How many of you, for some of you that are thinking that, I've heard this before and it just goes on and on. Things are now happening so fast. Most people aren't even capable of keeping up with what's happening. Remember, a week ago, Bill Barr was the Attorney General of the United States. He's not the Attorney General. There are now two guys, one that specializes in military tribunals, who his father was JFK's personal lawyer, and the other guy specializes in RICO law, which is this federal racketeering of the mafia and taking down the mafia. What is the cabal? It's the mafia. And so Bill Barr was just announced, I think yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I apologize, can't remember. It's been so busy the last 2 days. But Bill Barr was just announced out of the president's office that he is going to head a special commission looking into the rollout of NESARA. How many of any of you thought that any of that was possible 2 weeks ago? And it's all happening. It's happening at lightning speeds, but it has to play out in the US first. Like Mark said, it has to be revealed that he's the president, okay? So January 6th through 8, basically 6 through 9, those 3 days, 3, 6, 9, are gonna be really, really, really massively key days in terms of how this is going to happen. And this little vote in Congress and Senate, it means Trump wins, and then all it will be is a temporary go-ahead for this miracle to be unleashed, and that's going to be the quantum financial system, which is the unveiling of Nasara. And then 120 days after that will come an actual election again, a real election. See, Trump knew that the election on November 3rd wasn't real, wasn't going to count. They knew it in advance that it wasn't going to count. And then this real election will occur, and then this will unveil and reveal the heaven upon earth, this new age, and you'll see everything. So yeah, it is frustrating, Mark, and I appreciate you so much doing the work and whatnot. It's amazing, the strength that you've given everyone, but you're right, it relates back to the United States. It has to happen there first. And then 3 very special events will occur: Washington, London, and Rome. These 3 false cities, 3 places that outside of any kind of law that we've had, and those 3 places.
Right. I'm really starting to see that now. I don't know if today's conjunction has opened up some portal in me or what, but I'm starting to see things clearly now. It's like Johnny Nash, the song. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Going to be bright days and whatever it is, going to be a bright, sunshiny day. So I've had my moments of doubt, and I've been very honest about them and open in my videos. I've flip-flopped and floundered all over the place, and people have told me they find value in my output because I'm honest like that, because I'm reflecting the way many people feel themselves, and they tell me I'm just articulating what's on their mind. But I've said all along that I would be only too happy to put my hand up at the end of all of this and say, I was wrong to doubt. I was wrong. I should have trusted the plan all along. I want to have to do that. I want to have to make that video. And I feel it's getting closer and closer to that situation. But it's really felt like the can just keeps getting kicked further down the road in the UK, because imagine the beautiful symbolism there would have been if Trump had won the election on the 3rd of November, directly before the 5th of November here in the UK, with everything that date entails and the tie-in to V for Vendetta. That would have been incredible. But and actually earlier in the year, Johnson, around the summer, was making public announcements like, I hope to have the UK back to normal by November. I think we might be able to have some normality by November. So he was mentioning that date as if there was some expectation that something might happen by then. But then, of course, we know what happened with the election being rigged, being stolen. And so the can got kicked further down the road. And that got us to Christmas. And as you said, he dangled that carrot in front of us. Oh, do what you're told, and we might give you 5 days for Christmas where you can have your family over. And then it's, no, you can't have that carrot. Now, you can have Christmas Day, but don't take it beyond that. And if you're in tier 4, you can't even have your granny over for Brussels sprouts, unless you sit out in the garden with her. So the can is getting kicked further down the road. And something that's interested to me is film release dates that have been coming up. So there's the James Bond film, No Time to Die, which should have been released in April of 2020. And so they changed that to November of 2020, which made me think, well, maybe the makers of the James Bond film, given that they're establishment insiders, know that by November, we're all going to be able to go back to relative normality and go and watch films in the cinema. But then as we got closer to November, it's April 2021. You can see this movie in April 2021. And all indication now is that everything's going to get pushed all the way to the spring. But absolutely, I can see that everything that's happening in the UK now is very closely linked to the situation in the United States with Donald Trump. And as you've just said, it has to get sorted out there before anything can get sorted out anywhere else. So unfortunately, we now in this country and many other nations have to bear more draconianism, more totalitarianism until things get sorted out. But I feel that time is coming. It's very close. I can just feel it in the air, as I said.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you joining us. And just to, I don't know if you're going to have a chance, but we've got a 40-year astrologer coming up. It's a about 11 o'clock. And I had a conversation with her this week, and I am incredibly comforted by the information that she shared. She's basically talking about how we are going from darkness into dawn. And actually, we are totally planetary supported in this evolutionary uprising. So hopefully you'll find some comfort in that. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and joining us.
No worries. I'm sorry to have bum rushed the show as I did, but thank you for having me on. And what you've just said there about the astrologer backs up everything that I've heard from psychics and mediums that I've spoken to. I've had a couple on my show. I've had private conversations with many of these people, and everything that they're saying corresponds and correlates. So you've got psychics, mediums, and astrologers from Australia saying the same thing as those from South America, saying the same thing as those from Norway. They're all agreeing that things are going to work out in humanity's favor. I'm not having any of them saying we're doomed, this is the end, there's no hope for humanity. They're all backing each other up with positivity and hope and optimism. And yeah, I'm feeling that too. So thank you again for having me on. Great to be a part of the show tonight. And I'll watch the whole of it when I get the chance.
Really nice